We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Jason. Jason is a co-worker who's relatively new to home theater, and he mentioned to Jason that he was planning to put a 10-inch car subwoofer into an enclosure and use it in his home theater. Well, Jason's AV spidey sense started to tingle, telling him it seems like a bad idea, but he didn't actually know why it would be bad. Is it actually a bad idea? And if so, why? And how can he explain why to his co-worker? Okay, I'm going to answer the last question first. Do not explain anything to your co-worker. You shut your filthy AV mouth. I am being totally serious here. This will there is no conceivable
there is no good outcome to be had
there
here.
is a conceivable way that this ends well, but the possibilities are so minuscule. Dude, seriously. This is what you do. You go, "Oh, wow, that's interesting. I'd love to hear it when you're done."
Sure.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah, if this is what this guy wants to do, then...
He should do, and he's going to come up with every reason in the world why it makes a good idea.
Yeah.
I harken back to a post on Audioholics forums a bazillion years ago from a guy who had more speakers than sense. And he wanted to use multiple speakers per channel and just kind of put them all in the same location.
Right.
And everybody's like, no, don't do it, because there's comb filtering and there's this and there's that. This is what I say. And that guy got super angry. And not only that, he was like, look at this theater setup. This is an actual movie theater. They have speakers all over the place. How come, if they can do it, how come I can't do it? Because your room's not 50 feet across and 100 feet deep. That's why. I mean, you don't have 150 people sitting in your theater.
You didn't actually build a line array. It might look somewhat similar to a line array, but it isn't one.
Dude had literally no interest in hearing any of this.
Right.
All he wanted to hear was, yes, that sounds awesome. Have a good life. This is what you need to say to him. Yes. Now, without knowing what the driver is, it's very hard for us to say definitively whether or not this is a good or a bad idea. There are plenty of subwoofer drivers out there that go in cars that can be made to work perfectly reasonably in a room.
Sure.
With the right enclosure. There's no reason why it can't. Now, it has to be the right room. It has to be the right enclosure. It has to be a whole bunch of stuff. You don't know any of this. We don't know any of this. And therefore, we can't really say. Generally speaking, subwoofer drivers that are made for cars are completely different than subwoofer drivers that are not completely, but are different, have different, they're not made to fill up an entire room. They're not made to be in the kind of box that they're going to be in. They might not have the excursion or the power handling. A lot of them
are dual voice coil. That's really common in car subwoofer drivers.
Yeah, so we just let them do it. Just let them do it. No. The things that can go wrong are numerous. It's not just building a box and putting a driver in it. If it was just that, we would all be DIYing this stuff. Believe me, it takes so much more than that. And to really build a good one, I mean, got to remember, SVS came on and talked about their 2000 series subs. They went through 25 prototypes before they found the right driver. And this dude's just going to grab some subwoofer driver he has lying around and throw it in the box in his room and expect it to sound good. It's going to sound fine.
It's going to make sound. It's going to play bass.
It'll play bass. It'll make sound. It'll be better than what he had, which was nothing. So therefore, it's a success. And let him have it. And when he comes to your house and hears your stuff and says, "Why doesn't mine sound like that?" I don't know, dude. I don't know. But maybe it's because your subwoofer driver sucks.
I mean, in general, subwoofer drivers that are designed for cars are designed for a smaller enclosure. Because
absolutely.
If they weren't, where would you put it? In the car, so it has to be designed for a small enclosure, usually a sealed enclosure, and there's nothing wrong with either of that. It's just that tends to mean they probably aren't going to play down to 20 hertz, which is usually fine, because what most people want is the tactile pound you in the back, pound you in the chest bass, which is 35 hertz and up. that's where most of these things have the driver's own resonant frequency is going to be around 35 hertz in most car audio subwoofers. That's all fine. You know, if the goal was to play down to 20 hertz in a really large room, that's not the right driver to use. So that would be a fine thing to possibly mention. But will this play bass? Will it function? Absolutely. So if that's what he wants to do, just the only advice, if he's looking for any, is this car subwoofer driver will, on its spec sheet or somewhere in the literature, will say what the cubic volume of air of the enclosure should be. It'll have that mentioned somewhere.
Right.
Follow that, and it'll be fine. There.
Yeah, I would not offer any advice. I would not say anything.
No, I mean, if the guy asks, hey, is there something I should do to make sure I don't blow this thing up? That's my piece of advice. The specs will say, here's how many cubic feet of air should be in the enclosure around this thing, and here's how many watts of amplification you should have.
I wouldn't even mention the hertz thing at all, though.
No,
I wouldn't mention that.
Because what's he going to care?
Yeah, he's not going to care. There you go. Have fun with that. Let us know how it works out. If you do hear it, I'm curious. Maybe he bought like this, $10,000 JL audio subwoofer driver thing. Could be awesome. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.